Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to some further thoughts on Naruto as I continue to go through the season. Now, I don't know how often I'm going to do these for Naruto, but I did just finish what I think is the first real story arc. You know, his kind of origin or whatever, beginnings were kind of shown in the first few episodes, but this is the first big story arc through episode 19. When he, Sasuke, Sakura, with their Kakashi sensei go out to help the bridge builder, protect him as he goes to his land and builds the bridge and whatnot. So there's some things I really like about it. There's some things that I thought the storytelling could have been a little different, but I think that was probably due to the medium. Oh, we'll talk about that. So it's an interesting step too, because we haven't jumped in time, and we've just got Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura just graduated. They've just kind of become, their initial rank of ninjas or whatever. And we do know that there's something special about Naruto with the spirit of the nine-tailed fox being inside of him. We do know that he's good at the shadow jutsu that he learns from that scroll. He's good at his sexy jutsu, Don't really know anything about Sakura yet, and we know Sasuke was the head of his class. Okay, so they passed the test by working on teamwork. All we know about their sensei, we find out that, or in the beginnings of it or whatever, we found out that he'd never passed any students before. So these are the first group that they passed, but they only passed from teamwork. They don't pass because any one of them has got some amazing powers yet, as of yet, So they're on this mission to protect this bridge builder, and he's not 100% honest with them. As they find out, they're away from their land, they're away from their village of the leaves, it's just them and this bridge builder, and they find out that some really heavy hitters are after this bridge builder, and then we find out why. It's because of this, I forget the big corrupt guy's name, but the big bully, the big, boss bully or whatever who's coming there to bully their village and take it over, and he doesn't want this bridge being built because it would connect them to the mainland, and it would help the village a lot and, decrease his power. So he's hired this most powerful rogue ninja, the demon ninja of the mists, he calls himself. Really checkered past, really dark past, to go up against, to kill the bridge builder, but ultimately go up against any ninjas that the bridge builder has got protecting him. Now, what's cool about that setup is that scenario, you never would have put those students fresh out of school, just fresh into ninja training, proper ninja training, as ninjas. You wouldn't just put them into a task like that. In fact, they make a big deal out of saying, first they have to go find a kitten. First they have to go, do these smaller jobs which are more suited to their level of being a ninja. And this job is supposed to just be a very simple, protect this bridge builder as he walks through the wilderness. He didn't tell them that they're actually dangerous people after him. So that's a good little storytelling move. So now we've got a very serious challenge, dire, deathly challenge coming to our little team there. Their sensei and then the three of them that they should never have been facing, at their level. So that's good. We've got them. It's a believable set of circumstances. There was the guy wasn't honest with them about the job, but now they're there and there's no going back. They're already away from their land. They're in the midst of the danger. All they could do is they could turn around and walk away and let the bridge builder die and be killed, and then that would be a slight to honor and so forth. So they've got to go and stick with it. So that was a really good setup because it shows that, okay, we do have this this team that isn't necessarily skilled, but they're going to be in over their head. So tension, boom, immediate, ratcheting up the tension. That's wonderful. And then the conflict between the demon ninja of the mists and their sensei, Kakashi Sensei, Kakashi Hatamaki, I think is his last name. Anyway, we knew already that he was very strict, kind of a hard, guy to please or pass. He's got that one eye covered with his headband, his ninja headband. And then we find out from the Demon Ninja of the Mist, that's one thing that's funny. I think it works. It's probably just a trope in a lot of anime. I guess I've seen it in a lot. But when people fight, they just talk to each other a lot. And there are long moments of just sitting there staring at each other while they tell their backstory. And they say, and I know about you and that power. It's like, you guys gonna fight? But again, it's good information. We need to know the information. It's a little, as part of that, I think you just have to suspend disbelief a little bit in the genre. So I'm willing to do that to a certain degree. I do think though that this arc, especially the fight on the bridge, oh man, the pacing. Come on. This specific fight should not have taken this many episodes. Now, part of it is that every new episode has to go and backtrack and like spend a good 10 minutes or so just telling and catching up people on the story thus far, which is a real pain in the butt. It's fine, now I can just kind of fast forward through it and skip. That's fine, but I don't know if I would have been able to stick with it watching it live and on television back in the day, and then having to wait that long just to get a little bit more of the scene. I mean, how many days must have this one single fight on the bridge have taken just to and then I don't even know how often it aired. Was it every day? Probably once a week or something. Oh man, that'd have been torture. So the pacing of that I would really frown at in terms of storytelling. Again, making caveats to, maybe that's just something that anime fans are more used to. I don't know, but that was really slowed down, and yeah, not that doesn't get thumbs up for me. But what happens in the story certainly does. So we find out about Kakashi Sensei, about he's got these wonderful, or these special powers. This is the first time we find out about these blood powers. So far, all we've known about special ninja powers, ninja jutsu or whatever, is Naruto with that spirit of the nine-tailed fox being trapped inside of him. But now we find out that there are certain blood powers, really cool, certain blood powers that are only bound to certain ninjas or certain tribes or certain whatever. And we find out that their sensei has this power. He can lift up that headband over one eye, and that eye will actually enable him to mimic any technique, any jutsu or whatever he sees. And then his other eye is actually kind of able to hypnotize the person to make them think he's doing it at the same time instead of like, a second behind or whatever. Really cool power. We see that. We see how much of a real deal this demon ninja of the Mist is, and we hear his backstory and whatnot. And of course, Sensei eventually overcomes. It's pretty cool though, because in the midst of it, we do see him. He's trapped. He's trapped in a water trap, that the demon ninja of the Mist was able to trap him in. And it takes Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke are really the two that kind of work together in that sort of clone jutsu with the whatever those weapons were called that he threw at him or whatever. Really cool. I like that. I liked how they overcame that. And Naruto said, yeah, I can't beat him. I'm just here to free you, Sensei, so you can beat him. And he does. The Sensei makes pretty short work of him. Of course, though, and this is a cool thing, this boy shows up. Honestly, I really thought it was a girl. I thought it was going to be a reveal, like, oh, you find out it's really a girl because it's very feminine and it sounds feminine and so forth. But Haku shows up and is pretending to be a tracker, somebody that tracks down rogue ninjas from their village. So they think that the trackers come, basically like the ninja police, from the village or whatever, come down to track down the demon ninja of the Mist, and she kills him seemingly. Throws this needle, or he rather throws this needle at him and kills him. But we find out later, of course, that it was only a pressure point in his neck, made him to make him seem dead, his vitals to go low. And that this boy, I keep saying girl, it's just so girlish in my mind, but that's something interesting. We'll talk about that. That Haku is working for him. Haku was an orphan, really tragic backstory, has his own sort of blood powers, and this demon ninja of the Mist took Haku in as a boy and trained him to be his ultimate warrior, kind of sidekick, henchman, or whatever. So really cool stuff developing in theme. Naruto, I think, is on, if the story arc may change as I go for it, but I think he's on the story arc and the trajectory of learning that, his only motivation here so far is, I want the village to respect me. He's been an orphan. He's had this stigma on him because of the spirit of the nine-tailed fox in him. And that's the only reason he wants to be a hero thus far, at least is what he vocalizes, that he just wants that respect, He's very much a trickster, as we said. He's got a literal trickster god, possessing him. He's not, he's a decent kid, but he's not, Mr. Altruistic, Mr. Pure all the time. But we do start to see him develop some of these altruistic traits. We saw it a little bit with the head guy's grandson. We're seeing it now with the bridge builder's grandson, who lost his dad, and Naruto wants to show him that heroes really do exist. He wants to give the boy hope again. That's great. This is really cool. This is the kind of stuff that's going to get me really invested in Naruto. I like that. I like that he still makes a lot of mistakes, though. It's an interesting, it's true to his archetype anyway. That last battle on the bridge, though, like I said, and I'll kind of wrap up with this. At first, Haku was just so overpowered. I don't mind a good ramp up of tension, and a good, we tried this but that didn't work, so we had to try this but that didn't work. If we're learning new things about the story or the characters, and it's ratcheting up the tension to a certain point. But because the storytelling was slowed down so much, the pacing was so slowed with the medium and the way that it told the story, I was getting kind of ticked off. Come on, all right, we get it. Haku's freaking God. He can do anything and anyone. He's going to kill these guys so I can get over it and not watch the show anymore. I mean, not literally, but that's, when something's poorly paced, that's what the reader or the viewer is going to start to kind of think. But I do like the way that we had reveals that Sasuke is actually, I think, probably from the same tribe as Sensei, or maybe they've gotten some sort of similar there, but Sasuke has those powers too, to a certain degree, or he's developing them or something like that. We find out that Sakura has got the most control over her chakra, is able to climb the trees just like that, no trouble. So that's something that, she's a special talent that she has. The whole chapter, the whole arc was epically worth it, though. When they think that Haku has killed Sasuke, they're trapped in that, crystal thing that Sasuke's Jutsu created, and Naruto thinks that Haku has killed Sasuke, and then the spirit of the nine-tailed fox starts to manifest within him. That was some freaking amazing stuff. That was like a Wolfman scene. It was like the Incredible Hulk. That was awesome. I was really cheering at that point. And how and we find out through the sensei's kind of narrating, he's like, okay, the seal hasn't been broken. That's not him being possessed necessarily by the nine-tailed fox spirit, but a little bit of that spirit is leaked out. The seal's a little loosened, so a little bit of the spirit is leaked out. That's cool that can even happen. And man, this Haku character, who was just kicking butt and is like so overpowered, knew how to stop a power once he's seen it once, has this unbreakable trap with the crystals. Man, Naruto, when he's got that power of the fox in him, just took him, knocked him out easily. Knocked him out of the trap. About to kill him, but he stops because he recognizes Haku as the boy that he thought took for a girl that he saw in the wilderness. And this is what I'll end with. I like the juxtaposition between Haku and Naruto. And I think this is one of the reasons why Haku is a boy who seems very feminine, seems like a girl. And then the story doesn't go into him being gay or, some idiot doing it now would be like, oh, he's non-binary, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the point of it. The point of it is that there's some gender confusion there, and I hate even saying that word because it's so loaded today, and I don't mean anything that is meant by it today, but in the story-wise, Haku is a foil for Naruto. And a foil, even if the character serves other purposes in the story, in their role as a foil, they exist to, you might say, make the hero look good, but I think a more profound and better way to describe it is to be a mirror image of the hero. And often this is the role of villains to some degree. Haku's a really fascinating character, though, because at his heart, he's not a villain. It's fascinating. And so there's a juxtaposition. The way that he and Naruto are sort of mirrored images of each other. They're both orphans. They were both without compassion. They were both without care for a while. This is one of the things that Naruto realizes and why he has mercy on Haku. But Haku was taken under the wing of the demon ninja, the Mist. So he got a father figure who was a very tyrannical father figure. And the tyrannical father figure really is the true definition of toxic masculinity, which is, I am here not to protect, not to serve, but to use you for my benefit. And he was going to do that when he saw Haku, or he wasn't taking care of the poor orphan who was freezing to death. No, in fact, he was mocking him at first. But then he saw the power in his blood. He realized the power he had, and he thought, this boy can be of use to me. So he takes him and trains him and all of that. And it's interesting that in Haku then, because he grows to be this boy, he's still a kid, but he's this boy who's, is he a boy or a girl? What is he? Everybody's confused. It's a case of stunted, ill-progressed or ill-developed masculinity. And it's a sort of a, it's a real warning kind of story there. Not to say that he's not dangerous, incredibly dangerous, but that is, a misplaced femininity, or a person whose femininity is out of balance with his masculinity or whatever. Jung, they'll all tell you, Freud, they'll all tell you that that causes problems in the psyche. causes problems to those around you and whatnot. You know, and you got these parts of your psyche out of balance there. And in masculinity and femininity doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you know, he should have been smoking cigars and watching football. No, it's not that kind of thing. It's not a cultural kind of thing. It is about that feminine genius, that masculine genius, you know, within people. And look at him juxtaposed with Naruto. Naruto didn't have a father figure. The closest he had was that first sensei, at least, you know, as far as I've watched. Maybe they're going to go back into his backstory and tell some more stuff later. But the closest he's had since I've been watching is he had that first sensei who was his teacher, like his high school or whatever teacher kind of, and he said he wished he'd have done more for him, but he did try and be there for him here and there, take him out for ramen. He knew that Naruto was a troublemaker and whatnot. He tried to be there for him a little bit. So as a result, you had Naruto kind of going wild, unrestrained masculine power, exhibiting it, and doesn't know how to put, you know, strictures on it, and that's what he's learning right now. Kakashi Sensei is helping him and so forth, and he's kind of learning that. That's part of his character progression now, which is fun to see. So we've got the one character, and as a result of that, Haku, it said, was a pure soul because he didn't like killing. He was not ruthless. He was incredibly dangerous. He'd kill people like that. He was very, very dangerous, but he had that pure soul. He didn't like it. He was only doing it to try to win the favor of the demon ninja of the mist, to win the favor of his father figure. He was utterly devoted. He wanted to be of use to that father figure. Whereas Naruto isn't giving himself over to somebody else like that. Now, he's too far wrapped up into himself because he just wants to be a hero so he can be respected, you know, and that's part of his progression at this point, learning to give to others, you know. But Haku is an example of giving too much of yourself to others, giving your literal soul away to somebody else just for acceptance. Really cool juxtaposition between the two. I could really go on and on and on, but I don't want this video to go too long. But I mean, I think you could write an academic paper about the two of those characters. It was really fascinating. I like that a lot, and I'm really enjoying seeing how Naruto is going to progress at this point. Haku had a great arc. I like the way that ended. I really like the way the Demon Ninja of the Mist arc ended there. We got to know all of our team's sort of special powers, and they're all different enough to where it doesn't feel like, oh, everybody's got a power. No, it kind of makes sense with the story so far. So I like that. Had some issues with the pacing, but I don't know how much of that is just sort of the medium. I mean, do you guys really put up with that kind of thing? You know, it's fine, like I said, now when you can just skip or fast forward, but man, back in the day, I never would have stuck with a show that I was sitting there having to watch that long just to get any progress on. But I'm glad that I've got the progress now. I'm glad I'm watching it now, and I'm glad I saw the completion of that arc. Solid first real chapter of them, you know, existing as ninjas. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. I won't always go this in depth with all of the arcs, but I wanted to this time because I thought it was interesting and fascinating. So hopefully that made you think about the story a little bit differently. Made you appreciate it, maybe made you think of something you can use in your writing if not, or whatever. But like I said, I could go deeper, but I'll stop now. That's all I've got. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love.